Safe Space is a place where Black men learn, heal, thrive, and value the freedom to be. A safe space allows Black men to color outside the lines without judgment, stigmas, biases, or boundaries. A safe space is a place where our Black voices impacts and counts. And here are your hosts, Ty Baker Jr. and Dax Addy.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Safe Space, episode 10. We here. It's a little different vibe this time. My brother Dax, what's up? I see you over there.
What up, my boy? How you feeling?
I feel good. I feel a little lost. I ain't got you next to me right now, but we're gonna make this work.
It's all good, man. I'm gonna get next time I get a cardboard and I'll put it right beside you, and I draw a smiley face on it, and my mustache is starting to come in, so we be good.
Right. Listen, man, this is episode 10. Like, I remember when we first started talking about this 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when I first had the idea, and now we're about to wrap up our 10th episode for our first season. Tell me how you feel about that right now.
I feel good, man. I feel good. I definitely feel like, it inspires me to want to do more. You know what I'm saying? Every time we step in front of the camera, we're able to kind of share our feelings about some of these topics and really, really kind of dive into things that have kept us stagnant or stopped for a second. Whatever the case is, it's a good thing to congregate, with my brother and talk to others. And it's almost like a form of prayer.
Yeah.
We sit down, we talk, and you get it out, you know what I'm saying? And everybody gets it out from their perspective. So I feel really, really good. I think every time we have an episode, I feel a little bit stronger. How about that?
Most definitely. I 100% feel what you're saying. And it's like what you and I were talking about earlier. I feel like this is our brotherhood right here.
Yeah.
Every time we meet, we're able to spark up a new, fresh conversation. And even if we're talking about the same thing over and over and again, but we're able to learn something new every time we start talking.
Absolutely. Ain't that the thing in life, though? Sometimes you return thinking that you're going to do the same thing, but you learn something else and you forget that no second is the same. Time moves forward. It doesn't stay backward.
Right. I love it because it's taught me to look at myself in a deeper way.
Absolutely.
I'm finding myself now taking time to reflect. And I told you before, I used to hate, people know this about me already. I don't like being alone. I don't know what it is. Like, I like having people around me. But doing Safe Space has taught me to really get into space and to really start meditating, praying, listening to God. And I caught myself the other day, excuse me, I caught myself the other day waking up seeking God. And I grew up in church. We talked about this before.
Yeah.
The last couple of years, I'm like, thank you, Jesus, hallelujah, good to go, catch you later. But I purposely caught myself seeking for God, purposely listening, like, God, what are you trying to tell me today? And I feel like I'm able to do that now because I have this space. I have a brother that I can lean on, that I can talk to about this stuff, specifically when we did the episode on religion, how you know how hard and how mad I was at that time. But to have my pastor come on and be able to have an open conversation about that, that's powerful, So
Very.
that's why I love this, and that's why I'm like, this is something that we need, and not just us, the people that are on the show, our audience that have been listening to it. Everyone's always like, "Yo, like you guys are hitting real life stuff right now." So it's been a blessing.
It's definitely been a blessing, man. I think these are foundation conversations, right? And whenever you have a foundation-based conversation, you're talking to somebody about something that's happened. You're gonna get a chance to hear their perspective from whatever they went through, and just being able to walk into a room like you just said, just kind of add on to that and have that place of no judgment, where you can say what you feel, do what you did, good or bad, cuss one or two times, you know what I'm saying? Let us have it. We laugh about it and call it a day. You take the added pressure that you have had on you, keeping it inside, and you kind of take it out, you make room for something else. We don't have to figure it out today, but the first, I think, point of action is just to be able to talk freely and let you know that at the end of the day, man, I did what I did, and that's all right. We'll talk about the rest tomorrow.
Yep, and growing and learning in those instances right there.
Yeah, and that was the good thing for me, just, like you just said, I could talk here, feel free to talk, you know what I'm saying, no judgment. And once I got it off, off my chest, I think it created space, you know. It was a safe space. You like that,
Exactly,
didn't
exactly.
you?
But I want to hit on something, and we're gonna dive right into this. I know people are like, oh, they're just rambling right now, but sometimes I think it's good to just have a natural conversation. But we're gonna get to
Yeah.
our main topic today. But it just hit me in my soul, like a safe space. I know this is geared towards men, but I feel like a lot of people are looking for a real safe space. Sometimes when we're even saying the name, like I say it so nonchalant, but I'm like, for a long time, I didn't have a safe space, and that's how this whole entire thing came about. Going to therapy, listening to my therapist, like, and the first thing they said is, "This is a safe space." But I feel like sometimes people are like, "What does that really mean? What is a safe space really look like?" Because sometimes you go talk to a friend and you just need an ear to listen to. And as soon as you finish, well, I think you should do this. No, 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 no. I need you to listen. I just want you to listen and hear my heart. And I feel like that's what we are creating here. It's like, hey, like we said before, I'm going through it right now. I need some type of help.
I'll do you one better, man. I'll do you one even better. Isn't that what women say men don't do? They said we're fixers, but we don't listen.
Listen, I will admit it. I'm the biggest fixer in the world. I will try to
I
fix
ain't
it.
up to.
Right. And I'm notorious. I'll listen to you, but it's not that I'm not listening. It just may go in one out there, out the other, and I'm going to catch it later on. So,
That's how. Hey, man, I think we all in that boat, and we've been in that boat for so long. We're used to like the cycle of it. I think we're just engineered to be those type of people, and sometimes we got to take a back seat and listen a little bit more. So I get it. I totally get it, man. But like I said, this was a good thing. It's a great thing for us to let us, let the boys talk about it, all the dumb stuff, and that's just it. We'll figure it out from there.
most definitely. Well, let's jump right into it. This episode, we are hitting on being worthy and the importance of that. You and I were talking about this earlier, and I couldn't remember who I was speaking to about this, or what what sparked this thought. Um, but I know me personally, and I always take it back to me because I never want to speak on somebody else's feelings or what they're thinking. When I was writing this and when I was researching it, I was like, a lot of times I have this self worth feeling where it's like, am I really worthy of love? Am I really worthy of happiness? Am I really worthy of this job? And it's not even like a self pity feeling. I catch myself sometimes looking and watching everybody else and things that they're doing, and it's like maybe they're far ahead because I'm just not able to receive that. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, no, no, it does, man. It does, man. When life throws so many different angles of you that are actually quickly have you questioning yourself, and I think that's where this thing comes up. I'm like, am I really good enough? Is this for me? Am I worthy of all the things that are happening? I went through. I tell you a little story. When God started blessing me with a lot of things, what I'm saying, telling me, hey, listen, I'm gonna give you your receding hair back. I'm gonna bring your hairline back. I was like, if you do that, I'd be very grateful. I increase my church attendance to 2 a week. So, but I definitely had to kind of take a step back out of my own body, what I'm saying, and to really, really counsel myself, and to talk to my wife and my mentors and like to receive some of the things, that was happening, and to really, really honestly. So I started the self doubt kicked in, you know. So I think just being, what did it say, be still
Hmm.
for a second, what I'm saying, and not have any kind of I got to do this, I don't do this. I think sometimes it can help. So I definitely relate with what you're saying for sure.
And that's the hardest part. I know me, like we were saying earlier, I always go back to trying to fix things, always, instead of listening or being still, like you keep saying. Like when those doubts and those thoughts come into my mind, it's like, well, I see Joe over here. you know, he's making money that I should be making. And so it's like I start making those crazy thoughts in my head, or just self doubt in myself. And it's like, well, what can I do to fix that, instead of just sitting back and talking to God?
It's good that you said that though, man. You got my mind running, Ty. You got my mind running.
Well,
See, preaching some good stuff right now.
I say that because, whether you're religious or not, whatever you believe in heaven or hell, or spirits or whatever, like, everything I have in my life is from God, you know. But I always try to do it myself. I always try to get to that next step for myself, instead of just going through that journey with God, listening to Him, praying, fasting, seeking Him. And I think that's where that self doubt comes in. That's where that worthlessness comes in. And it's like, I'm not doing those things. I'm not doing the work. I'm not putting in the homework that I need to get to that next stage. So I'm delaying that blessing. I'm delaying that next step. So I'm really supposed to be right here. But because Tyrone is trying to do it, I'm all the way back here. You get what I'm saying?
I get it, but you got that name Tyrone, so that's a real G name. That name come with a gold chain and confidence.
It most definitely has a lot of confidence.
Right.
But hey, if I ain't got God with me, that confidence ain't nothing.
Hey, I know Tyrone come with a two-piece, and the gold chain and Confident Friday. So I know you're gonna definitely push through a lot of things. Guys gonna be like, he gonna choose him first before you choose me in this one. He'll come back. No, but I get what you're saying though, man. I definitely get it. It's been tough, man. I think that we go through this roller coaster in life, of hitting those moments, and I think that it's gonna happen. I think that it would be naive, to not think that it's gonna happen. I think that um, the doubt it can also be looked at as an opportunity, to expand. I always look at those moments now in my life, as your knowledge will always be expanded when you start doubting yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, am I good enough to do this or whatever is going on? It will be an opportunity. A old soul told me that a long time ago. Lots of wisdom. So in comparison, I think you're supposed to go through the moments where you compare yourself to people. There's almost like sections to it that you go through, when you're actually asking that question, am I worthy? There's almost small sectors of it, of that emotion that you process, and you kind of go through the whole thing before you come out. So I can definitely kind of relate to that for sure.
Yeah. What's some advice you would give to anybody, male or female, that have these type of feelings, these type of thoughts? Because, like you said, it's going to happen, you know,
Yeah.
but it's about being prepared for when it does happen.
I think what I would do is I always mention this and people laugh and they don't understand it, and I said that everything starts with your body, you know, um understanding your body. I think when you get a chance to take the mirror and put it up and look at yourself, right? You should start to evaluate what you do best and what you don't do best. Things that would channel your emotions, get your emotions high, low, right? And then start understanding and separating like how life wants you to process what you're supposed to be versus who you are.
Mm.
Those two things, right? Generally, when they don't meet, right, you have a lot of what we're talking about right now. Am I good enough? Right? So, the advice I would give them is just to understand that we spend our whole life in those two bubbles. And obviously, you're always going to try to make it one. But what you got to understand is that being human, there's a sense of a social cycle that's always going to happen because we're in the social world. It's always going to happen, right? So with that constantly moving and you constantly having the inner struggle of yourself as well, the personal aspect of who you want to be, etc. Every time it mix, every 5 or 10 years when you do your evaluation based on you getting older, right? That's going to happen, and you have to allow yourself grace to understand that this is part of the process, and that your jewels and my jewels, your gold and my gold, your problems and my problems don't, your riches and my riches, your kids and my kids, they will not be born on the same day.
Go back to what you were just saying. You said evaluating yourself. And I feel like that's a main point that sometimes we miss.
Hmm.
December 31st, what does everyone do? They get ready for the new year. January 1st, they have a brand new list of goals, New Year's resolutions. Those resolutions usually only last for about 10 days, maybe sometime 30 days, you know. But I feel like that's a good starting point at least, you know, taking the whiteboard, wiping it clean completely. Whatever you may be going through, whether it's a man or woman, a toxic relationship, a bad job, whatever, um, take a step back, reevaluate what's going on, wipe that board completely off.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Because
Nah,
if you
I get it. I
if you
get it, man.
don't, you keep having those conversations. Am I worthy of this? Am I worthy of that? Of course you are, but you prepared yourself to get to those next steps by cleaning out that closet, wiping that board off. You know, so when you said reevaluating your things, that's what made me think about that.
But how about this? You know, some people don't even know how to evaluate
Oh
themselves.
yeah, trust me, man. Man, you hit the nail on the coffin with that one. A lot of times, we talked about this all the time. People don't know, but they don't know because they're just walking around life aimlessly, not even knowing how to get to the solution they're looking for, because they're not having real conversations like this, or
Yeah.
they don't have a brotherhood or a sisterhood to where they could just lean on somebody. You know, a lot of times, and I don't mean to cut you off. A lot of times, I know me, I get afraid to actually open up because it takes a sense of vulnerability to open up.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely.
And especially as a man, you want me to open up and cry? You want me to open up and talk? Huh?
Tyrone don't cry.
It's like no, no, no. But I've learned like that sometimes I know for me at least, it can be a soft cry, it could be a boohoo cry. Those tears are a cleansing, you know. And most of sometimes I don't even need you to say it. Just let me talk and just let me get that those emotions out, you know. So I think what you said is
I
true.
mean,
A lot of people don't even know how to get to clearing that out.
no, they don't. No, they don't. And Ty, I'll tell you what, you know, the biggest lesson I learned in life is that I, as a young man, know things, right? The mentors in front of me know structure. So you can be, I can expose you to anything in money, great riches, a beautiful woman, a great woman, right? You will know what's in front of you, but you won't know how to treat her until you add wisdom to your life. And that's going to come in the sense of mentorship or something that's seen it before you.
Yeah.
So we know things, we don't know structure. And that's how we add wisdom and we validate joy and not temporary happiness.
So let me ask you this: You're not, and not even saying this to the joke, but you're a little bit older than me. So what do you say to somebody out there? Because you've had some experiences that I haven't had. What do you say to somebody out there that is looking for some type of mentor or some type of structure?
Well, I mean, it's like anything in life, man. This thing is the matrix. If I want to learn how to be to sell cars, I'm sure God has always blessed us, or some mighty power has always blessed us with ability, right, to ask questions until you get to the right thing. That's why they say if you're motivated enough, you can ask enough questions, you're going to get an answer. You're going to get an answer. Somebody's got an answer, whether it's in Ty's Rolodex or it's in my Rolodex or it's in my wife's Rolodex. Somebody's got the right answer for me to get to somebody, right, who has seen this type of problem in or this thing that I'm going through before.
Yeah.
I think life is just built like that. We tend to build life on that structure, that aspect of things, where we if we can find a reference board, a decent reference board, I think we should be able to add some wisdom and some steps, or else we're trial and error. We're trial and error. You get in a girl's life, you trial and error until you break her heart until she has enough grace until one day she's 50-50, she'll leave you. Who knows? You trial and error everything else. Your job, you trial and error until you see what I'm saying? College, you trial and error. School, you trial and error. Everything is trial and error until somebody says and say, listen, hey, you gotta walk before you crawl. You gotta go to elementary school before you go to high school. You gotta get a job in college so you can get an idea of what the working world is. You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean by structure versus things. Sometimes people will ill advise you, to the beat of saying, when I was this, well, here's the thing. We live in an ever evolving world.
Right.
So things will change, right? But the foundation of certain aspects will never change. You can never ever say at the end of the day, if a house didn't have foundation, that you can build it, it'll be beautiful, but it's gonna fall.
Yeah. And I feel like that's what we're building here is a foundation for men to be able to come and talk about this. Because before, I know I didn't have that foundation.
Ah, okay.
I just had that sand. And when it rains, it washes away.
It was just me, back in the day. I remember you used to talk, and I used to just roast. That's just what I did.
Right.
I ain't taking nothing serious for the next 30 minutes. So it's good, man. It's good that we can kind of, build and foster these relationships and continue to build it. I think it's necessary. I think it's good for men to counsel men into marriage. You know, I think it's good for men to counsel men, when there are wounds, I think humility will be the biggest weapon of choice that will open up joy, for a lot of us during these moments, and just understandably going back, to touch on what you were talking about, about being worthy. I think if you have a heart, you're going to go through that.
Yeah.
You
100%.
know, you can sit here and tell me all the great stuff, but it doesn't matter how big you are, tall, this and that and this, whatever the case is, man, you're gonna go through it. And that's where this group of voices, and listening ear becomes, a good one for you.
Yeah. Let me ask you something. This just crossed my mind when you said that you're going to go through it. Do you think that we have to go through these processes sometimes in order to get to that next step or that next level in our life?
I think the most unique thing about each individual that walks in this life or this world is that we're gonna at some point there's a percentage of you, right, that's gonna choose something uniquely built for you. And that comes from the child in you. So you can listen to the 80% and you can find my structure, you can say I followed that path, right? But because society will introduce more colors because it's evolving more things, right? And because the kid in you will want to choose certain things, that's the 20% rule in my head, right? He's going to choose what he wants to choose, right? There's always going to be that interpretation that's going to be fully yours. So yes, you do have everything is your destination. It's not guaranteed that it's going to be 100%, but it's going to minimize your issues. If you choose to put structure, it's going to minimize some of the things as opposed to you saying, hey, I'm playing Russian roulette. I just randomly got rich
Right.
or I randomly did something. The randoms usually never stick. That's the point. But when you have something that's like that, it usually sticks. So to answer your question, yeah, you have to go through it. You have to not plagiarize. You have to go through the tough times. You got to say, man, hey, I ain't got no job right now. I ain't got this and that. You got to see it from your perspective. You know, I heard something that Deion Sanders said a long time ago. He said, it wasn't until I was in jail and I had no options, no nothing. I couldn't think my way through it. My back was completely against the wall. Did I find God?
Yeah.
And that's a big statement. But guess what? Everybody ain't got to go to jail to find God.
Right.
Some people find him in the church, So, but it's got to be on your day where you're not going to plagiarize. But it's always a good thing for somebody to tell you because it's the reference point.
Yeah. And you said something that made me want to go to my next point. Like I know me, like I do this before the next generation. You said he was saying Deion Sanders said my back was against the wall and I couldn't dig it out anymore. I feel like a lot of times we get to a point in life where it's like, all right, I done messed up. I can dig myself out of this. Then you go back and do the same thing over and over again. But we're setting that platform now for the younger generation to have mentors to teach them how to get through these things instead of having to keep digging themselves out of the hole and going back into that same situation.
Absolutely. And just to kind of add on to what you just said, think about it this way. How about this? I'll dumb it down all the way, right? If I come to you stuck in gear, right, with a problem, who has the problem, me or you?
Me.
Well, that'll be me, right? I say, hey, Ty, I've been trying to figure out A and B, but it's not working. And I keep on repeating A and B, right? I came to you to get your advice. And oftentimes when we say advice, we mean I came to you so I can complain and you can listen.
Right.
Because I'm going back to do it again myself the way that I did it.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I'm guilty, man. I do that all the time. I did that with my wife yesterday. We all do it. Okay. I do it all the time. But understanding and being able to, as you just said, laugh at yourself, you know what I'm saying? You'll always tend to get to a place where you're just like, okay, maybe today is the day that I take the advice. It's going to happen, but it's not going to happen on the time that you think it's going to happen.
That's true. Man, you just
I'm
said.
glad I can make you laugh today.
No, you said something because you said eventually you're gonna take the advice, and I feel like that's how this younger generation. That's why like I take this so serious because our young men that are coming up are so hard on doing things their way, and instead of listening to the older generation, and you see that in everyone. When I was 15 and 16 years old, your mom and pop saying something, yeah, whatever. 15 years later, you're in that same situation with your own kids or your own friends, and it's like, damn, like history repeating itself. But like, it just made me laugh because I'm thinking about a personal situation where it's like, you know, you tell somebody to do something and they just don't get it and they get stuck in that situation over and over again. And I'm like, look, I've been in your shoes before. I have been exactly where you were at. I'm giving you the blueprint. You just ain't taking it. So that's why this is so important for me because like this is a roadmap for healing. This is a roadmap for love. This is a roadmap for mental health that people need. And don't be afraid to open up. Don't be afraid to say, listen, I need help because we're going to be able to guide you to that.
That's and not 100%, man. But I'll tell you this much too, right? When people listen to those moments, right? You gotta like now in my life, I allow grace to understand from my perspective that I'm not telling you because you're supposed to go out, you're supposed to listen to me, go out and change it right now. That's never gonna happen.
Yeah, it's not a
That's
know-it-all.
never gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
But I am telling you to start for you to get in the habit of starting a reference or having like a mental that results to a reference point. So when that day comes that your emotions are not so high and you fed up with doing the same thing every single time, right? That's what I mean by no changing day. Nobody's day is on the same time. Yours is further than mine or closer, whatever the case is. You may just be like, you know what? Todd been telling me to do A, B, and C. And I've been doing C, D, and E for the last 15 years. And I just tried today. It is what it is.
Right.
And then come back like, hey, Todd. And you look at him like, man, I told your ass for 15 years. You just not doing You just not doing this.
Right.
That's usually how those conversations go, man. But you know what? They're supposed to trigger laughter in us. They're supposed to trigger these things because my mindset is that I'm glad that you learned it on your own and you made it your own. I'm glad that you're not plagiarizing because that's the leader in you versus the follower in you.
Right.
I'm always of support to activate the leader in people by their own choice and own will.
Exactly. And that's what we're trying to do. Build future leaders here. Like I said, I'm never want to come off like a know-it-all or you have to do it my way. Like you said, it's going to happen in your own time. And when you're ready to come back, it's not going to be like I told you so. It's here. Come on. Let's do this together.
Not me. I'm gonna tell you I told you no. I'm rub that in for at least 35 minutes. I'm gonna let you have it. All those 15 years you let me like you ignore me but try to use my ear, I'm gonna let you have it. Nah, man. Nah, it's all good, man. I get it, man. I just think that you see, man, we live in we live in a world of mistakes and sometimes we overly charge mistakes by emotions and we don't understand that all these things that we're building that are seen by the five senses we're going to leave here
Yeah.
We're gonna leave here, bro. So that rent you scared about, that job you wanted, that car you wanted, that girl you wanted, that everything that you can materialize, right? That's why I guess older folks always tell you, man, they're like, man, when you by the time you get to a certain point, you realize that it's not important and love was everything, you die.
Yeah. Yeah. Man. Well, I want you to take a second, Dax. This has been a great conversation. I feel like every time you and I get together and it's just us two, we're able to really just break it down. And I feel like that's healing for both of us because, I know my schedule's busy, your schedule's busy. We got families, we got wives, kids, yada, yada. So I love being able to connect with you. Um, give me 2 minutes and just reflect on the past season on, some of your best moments real quick and just any advice you want to give anybody out there that's listening to this.
2 minutes, real quick. All right. We started off talking. I mean, we got right into depression, man. We got into it. The thing that hits all of us, you know what I'm saying? I think was one, even like just out of everything we talked about, I think it was the richest thing because that was the common ground for everybody.
Yeah.
No matter what you did, you got there. You were able to achieve it.
Yeah.
But it was pretty like because there were so many things we covered, police brutality, you know what I'm saying, the church, whatever the case is, there was some topic, right, that had an effect primarily on either you or myself, directly, that landed us in a place where, you're just a little bit emotionally charged and we're able to ask questions to some of our guests, but prior to that, it was something I was like, I ain't feeling too well about this, and for some people who it directly affected, yes, it put some people around them into depression. So, depression was probably, like I said, the biggest one for me, because it was something that affected all of us and it still does. And I think we learn to manage it, as we grow and we get into our more wisdom based years, by putting coping mechanisms in place, i.e., safe space, i.e., good counselorship around us, i.e., mentors or whatnot, and most importantly, like some kind of figure of prayer or God. The other episodes that we hit, man, they were deep. I learned so much. Police brutality was another one. That stuck out. And it stuck out because like it was one of those moments for me where I've had run-ins with a cop, but it was one of those things where you're like, you don't know how bad it is until it happened to you.
Right.
Right. And it keeps on happening. It still hasn't stopped. It keeps on happening. So to be able to be in a group to where we can talk and ask the questions, that really, really has been on our hearts, over the course of, what we at 10 episodes now?
Yeah, man.
It's really, 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 really been a good one, man. And shout out to my boy Trey Hamilton too, who just gave us the counsel of really, really breaking down what it is to go through depression at its worst as well.
Most definitely.
For sure. You know, and Tyrone, of course. The hero. I call him the hero of understanding because he definitely could pivot us and give us a good definition on what we were going through. I was like, man, I'm just depressed and I'm gonna go sleep. He's like, yeah, that's called A, B, and C, bro. I'm like, leave me alone.
He broke it. He broke it down too real for you.
Yeah, he's so solid, man. He's so solid, man. Like I said, we've been blessed with really, really good guys, and even you and Big Will, fatherhood. It was such a good conversation that was started. And I hope, in hopes we're gonna revisit that, because I got some real questions for you and Will, some real, real questions. I'm not there yet, but I'm heading down that route. And the relationships that you guys have with your kids, Will is a vessel of wisdom. You are a vessel of wisdom, and to see you guys, not what you do, how you process that aspect. It was a big brother moment for me. So I definitely, definitely can say that we've had a great, great season, of wealth of information. And for myself personally, you know what I'm saying? Y'all laid the goose egg, and I appreciate y'all.
Yeah, man. It's this whole thing has been a blessing. It most definitely has turned into something that I never could have imagined. Like I said, I remember 3, 4 years ago coming up with this idea and never even thought it would become something because it just kept going. Another year, another year, another year. And never thought we would have the guests come on here and have these type of conversations. And I never even expected you or I to be in front of the camera actually have this conversation. I was like, please don't put me in front of this camera. I do not want to. I will tell you guys what topics we're gonna hit on. I will be behind the camera, But it's opened up a whole nother level of healing. And like I said, for me, it's bigger than me. This is something that I want to leave for my boys to be able to go back and watch when they are facing depression, when they're facing police brutality, like a roadmap, and specifically for our younger generation coming up, because I didn't have this type of roadmap. I had a great leadership from my father, but I feel like if someone would have talked to us about mental health growing up, that path may have been a little bit different. And of course, having you here, I remember the first time I told you about this, man. You was on board from day one. He said, "Let's go,
man.
let's get it." And that was the first stepping stone to building this relationship for a safe space. Because I told you straight up, I was like, "I'm not gonna open up to nobody. That's not gonna happen. You want me to get on camera and share emotions? No, sir. We could talk about it outside of that, but no."
It's all good, man. I was gonna get you a glass of water and some bonbons, like thank you. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and get your married with children on.
But no, I'm extremely thankful for you, man, and I'm blessed to have you in my life. And shout out to everybody else that supported us throughout this. Matt, our producer, you've been there since day one, supporting us, and you most definitely came on and ran full speed with this. Adult Media, who helped us out with our studio, our editing, our audio. Such a huge blessing on that end. My beautiful wife supporting me throughout this, and my kids. It was safe space all around the house, 24/7, and I'm pretty sure I drove them crazy about it. Everybody that reposted, tagged, commented, liked. We got in this not to get famous or anything like that or get rich. This was a pure love, passion project to help people heal and grow, and that's all I want out of this, So thank you once again, my brother. And for everyone out there that's listening, you are worthy of love. You're worthy of happiness. You're worthy of joy. You're worthy of whatever it is that you're seeking. And if you need that safe space, find somebody that you can lean on. Find somebody that you can trust. If it's mental health, if it's a therapist, if it's God, if it's church, whatever it may be, you're not alone in this journey. You may feel alone, but you're not alone in this journey at all. And I know Dax and we struggle with this every day. That's why we have a great bond, because I can lean on him. I can talk to him. I can trust in him. So thank you, my brother. You got anything else before we close this baby out?
Yeah, man. Just everybody, hey, keep life is a gift. It's a gift, no matter how bad you are or where you're at, learn to like I wouldn't say learn to forgive yourself, but try to ask some questions, to people. Just ask questions, and you'll receive something in there, right? That'll start kind of taking some of the pressure off in your life. And I promise you, things will start just when you feel like you have to give up, something will start changing. Learn the power of a smile. I always say this, man. A smile is a great way to introduce your day.
Yeah,
You don't have to know anything. Just a smile is good enough. Most people will talk to you just off the strength that you got a smile.
I love that.
And that's it. And that's all I got. That's all. Learn, introduce a smile to this world. That's it. That's more than enough.
Amen to that. Well, that's all we got, my brother. This is it for season 1, episode 10, Worthy. We're gonna get right back to it though.
Yeah, we should. After I cook this dinner, shoot.
Thank you
What
for
about
all of
me?
our audience, everyone that's subscribed for season 1. Please make sure to stay tuned for season 2. We will be back very soon. I promise you. We're gonna hit the lab, and we're gonna get some more guests in here. And Dax and I, we're gonna hit it hard season 2. So thank you guys. We love and appreciate you all, and thank you for tuning in.
That sounds good. Peace.
Thank you for tuning into this week's episode. Please be sure to like, share, and comment on all of our social media platforms.